All right, guys, week 6 to 9 of my bodybuilding prep. I hope you don't mind me. Feeling a little bit groggy this morning. We're doing this right before church. I got my energy drink going. Fun fact, I've been drinking only energy drinks for the last nearly a month now. I think it's actually been over a month. And it's a test because of, I read somewhere that apparently coffee increases DHT levels, dihydrotestosterone, and that's what actually increases balding. It encourages male pattern baldness, and I wanted to test that theory out experimentally. So I've been just taking out coffee and drinking energy drinks, and I've been seeing, at least I believe so, an increase in my hair follicles and the thickness and the growth rate. And if you can't tell, I think it's working. Anyways, so we're doing a quick overview of the last couple weeks of my bodybuilding prep. I unfortunately don't remember a whole lot because, as I've said in the previous videos, the brain fog is pretty intense at this point. Some days I am very deep in a calorie deficit, especially with the cardio combined with already being in a deficit in calories. I'm getting down to, if we combine the approximate calorie burnage, I'm getting down to 15 to 1600 calories a day. But that's with, again, me doing cardio and burning anywhere between 300 to 500 calories during each cardio session. So, and that's what you should do. You should use cardio as a tool to help you get into a deeper deficit. Your diet's going to be the number one thing. But after a certain point, you don't want to drop so low that it affects your well-being and it affects your lifestyle, affects your performance in the gym. I'm still able to function. I just say brain fog in the sense that, just one example of the brain fog is one day we came back from church, I believe, and we went to Dollar General. We needed milk, right? So we went on a milk and eggs run essentially, and got a gallon of milk from Dollar General. As we're coming back, we got out of the car. I just turned the car off, right? But I left the keys in there. And the second I was about to pull it out, Nicole had opened the back door already to our car, our Subaru, and the gallon of milk fell and it cracked open a little bit and started gushing out. She starts flipping out, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta help out. So I just run out of the car, I jump out of the car, and I go and grab whatever we can to fill that gallon of milk because we don't want to go to waste. So we grabbed our 2 liters that we usually use for water. They're liters about that. They're both liters, so we filled them up all the way and then stuffed it in our fridge so we can keep it from spoiling. But the day went on and we went to bed and we wake up the next morning. Oh, and I'm sorry guys, it wasn't Saturday. It actually wasn't church. It was Saturday. And then the next following morning was Easter Sunday. And we wake up and the car's dead. And we're like, oh shoot, how'd the car die? Well, the keys were in there still. I through my, I guess, the panic of trying to help my wife and the brain fog of this bodybuilding prep, I forgot I left my keys in there and I didn't take them out. Car died. That became a whole mess. That day, me and Nicole learned how to switch out a battery out of a car. I know some of you are probably laughing, especially you guys out there. You're probably thinking, oh, this joker doesn't know how to switch out a car battery. But listen, I didn't have a dad growing up, so you can make fun of me all you want, but I didn't have the luxury of having someone show me how to do manly things like that all the time. But we learned. It wasn't hard. I agree. Now that we've done it, it's not hard at all. Just really annoying finagling to hook it back in. But anyways, give an excuse that I don't have a whole lot to share with you guys today, but I'll still give you some things, and hopefully even now you've gotten some points and some tips that can help you. But what we're going to start off with today, guys, is week 6 and 7. Let's talk about my macros. So I had it written down in here, and I realized that I messed it up. So me and my wife, we had to go into my MyFitnessPal. That's where I track everything, MyFitnessPal. It's my choice. I have the premium feature. It's like $120 for the year, which I think is a ripoff. But anyways, so week 6, and this is by the way, this is approximated because I always do, and in my notes section every single week after a couple weeks I would delete the old macros and calories. But more or less, I've been slowly dropping it over time. So this is about, I would say, 95% accurate. So week 6, from the 24th to the 30th, at a high carb day, a medium carb day, and a low carb day. My high carb day was 200 grams of protein. I had 275 grams of carbs and 90 grams of fat, which is roughly about 2,700 calories. And medium carb day was 220 grams of carbs. Protein. 200 grams of protein and 90 grams of fat, which is 2490, about 2,500 calories. And then my low day was 230 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs, and 100 grams of fat. So decently low, but the fats are decently high still. As a rough rough metric, a rough general idea, when it comes to having optimal healthy fats, I like to stay around halfway mark of your body weight. So whatever your ideal body weight is, you take that number and you cut it in half, and that's typically about how much fats you want to have. And then you kind of take away from there, depending on your lifestyle and how you feel, how much you need to perform. I know a lot of powerlifters, they'll have a little bit higher in fats because of the amount of carb that is necessary for you to perform in the gym for a powerlifter isn't super high. You need to have really explosive power, so it's good to have a lot of beef. That's why a lot of strongmen and powerlifters at large, they'll just eat a lot of beef because there's a lot of natural creatine in it. I believe it's about, for every 8 ounces, there's about 5 grams of creatine in it. So that's like, for you guys out there that buy creatine supplements, that is 1 scoop of creatine. You get that in 8 ounces of meat. So you have a lot of meat, you have a lot of, especially beef, you're getting plenty of creatine. You don't really need it. If anything, I would say that you're probably creatine overloaded for the most part. But anyways, week 7, we dropped again. So high day was 250 grams of carbs, 200 grams of protein, and 90 grams of fat. So the fat's still about the same, right? It's still the same compared to the other week, but I dropped my carbs by 25 grams. So it's a very small drop. So that's 2,600 calories. Again, 2,600 calories. So that was 100 calories less from the week previous to, and then where all those calories dropped from was at 25 grams of carbs, where we went down from 275 to 250. Medium day was 200, so I dropped again to 200. So that's the same thing as the previous week. So that calories were the same for that day, for medium day. And then low day was 230, 190, and this time I dropped the fats on my low day just a little bit, from 100 grams of fat to 90 grams of fat. So that dropped my calories by a whole 100 calories by itself. Actually, a little bit more. And then week 8 is where we started getting a little bit deeper into a deficit. So week 8, high, medium, low day. High day was 225 grams, so I dropped another 25 grams. So now we're looking at, and then I also dropped my fat from 90 to 80, and I increased my protein by 20 grams. So we're looking at, for high day, 220 grams of protein, 225 grams of carbs, and 80 grams of fat. It's 2,500 calories total. So looking at the previous week, week 6 was 2,700, week 7 was 2,600, and week 8 was 2,500. So you can see just a very modest 100 calorie drop every single week. And then also this week, like I said, it's 220 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs, and 80 grams of fat. So we dropped my carbs, we dropped my carbs by 25 grams, we dropped my fat by 10 grams, and we increased my protein by 20. And that's what you typically should do when you're getting into a deep deficit. You first want to pull away from. I would typically pull away from carbs very slowly, and once you get to a certain point where you know it's going to start affecting your performance, I start pulling away from the fat very slowly, and then you start increasing the protein. But don't just throw protein at the window. Like, I want you to actually do it by like 10 to 20 gram increments. Don't do like. I know so many guys are in the cut, like, I'm doing 50 grams. I'm going to do 100 grams. It's like, it kind of defeats the point of the cut if you're having so much protein that you're no longer in a deficit. You really only ever see bodybuilders do that when they're in a really deep cut. And obviously, when you're on stuff, you can get away a little bit more. You can have a little bit more, and some might argue that more protein equals more recovery, more muscle maintenance during a cut. But I don't want to get into the science behind that. There's plenty of studies that show that beyond 1.5 grams per pound of body weight, there's minimal benefits in a cut. All right, so week 8 again. We for protein, we now cranked up the protein. It's 245 grams of protein, so way different from even the week prior to. Add an additional 25 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs, and 80 grams of fat. So now we've officially dropped fats to 80 grams across the board, and carbs on my medium day is 150, and the low day is still 100. So low day has consistently been 100 grams across the board, but now fats are 80. So we're again looking at 100 calories across the board dropping every single week. So week 9 is the week that we just finished this week. I'm sorry, actually last week. So I'm actually 7 weeks after my bodybuilding prep today. High day is 200 grams of carbs. So that was at one point my medium carb day. Actually, that just the week prior to that was actually technically somewhat my high carb day. But now it is my that's the highest we're getting here. So you can already see the brain fog starting to affect me now. So again, high day is 220 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and 75 grams of fat. Medium day is 245 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs, and 80 grams of fat. And large and low day is 245 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs, and 80 grams of fat. So we're looking at, for the high day calories, 2355, medium day is 2300, and low day 2100. So even between the high and medium day, even though the calories are not that much of a difference, it matters in the sense that one day I'm having 50 grams less carbs, which is a significant amount for somebody like me. And that is because I'm less active that day. And also on my medium days, I train my leg day, I train my legs, and I train my back. And the reason why I have it that way right now is because one, my legs and my back are genetically superior to the other body parts of my body. I just maintain size. I grow really well, really easily in those areas. Whereas my chest, my shoulders, my arms, they don't keep size that well. So the whole point, if you guys have been sticking with me during this prep, is I've been trying to make sure that I maintain size. So that's the calorie side. We can move that away. It's literally got food spillage on it when we were making a stew last night. I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. So like I said, a couple weeks ago, I'm trying to remember the last like three-ish weeks of my bodybuilding prep. There's not much I can recollect for you. But a couple things happened, and I want to share with you guys this. And I don't want to dig too deep into this, but one thing I want to share is a couple weeks ago, actually week 6 of my bodybuilding prep, my head pastor, and again, I'm not going to name any names for anyone that's from that church. I don't want them to find out, and I don't want them to be like, oh, I'm gossiping. I'm just simply sharing, because this is supposed to be my experience in my bodybuilding prep. You know, the highs, the lows, the emotions, all that, the mentality, diet, everything, right? So I'm just trying to be completely transparent with you guys. My head pastor, we had a meeting with our associate pastor, and we talked about me preaching about 3 weeks into the future from the 6 weeks. So it was this week, actually. Today would be the day that he wanted me to do this. He wanted me to preach on their afternoon service. And he's been wanting me to do this for a little while, but he's been trying to wait for me to get more, used to the mantle, used to preaching, comfortable with it. And, for anyone that's out there that knows me, and if you don't, I'll share with you now. I wasn't a person that was used to doing things like this, speaking, preaching, especially doing public speaking. It wasn't my thing, and God's really, really done an awesome thing in me, and that's what I love about my faith, and what I will stand on the mountaintops and shout God's name, shout Jesus' name, because what makes our faith different from every other faith is that there's transformative power people change. When people let this get a hold of themselves, it changes you for the better, because Jesus makes you want to change. Jesus makes you want to change. So like now, like I'm comfortable. I'm capable of preaching. I think I'm a decent preacher. Well, will I say I'm an awesome preacher? No, but God's done an awesome work in me, and I'm able to do it, at least nonetheless. So he wanted me to preach this Sunday, which is a difference between preaching to a group of 15 to 30 kids and preaching to a congregation of 100 plus. But unfortunately, that opportunity has sailed, because there's disagreements in scriptures. I don't want to, again, dig too deep into this, because I always want to be wary of gossiping. That's why I'm not mentioning names. I'm not mentioning where, blah blah blah. I don't ever even tell you guys typically where I live. Other than I live in the Smokies, and that's it. That's all I'll give you guys. But we had a night of truth at youth group one day, and that's basically that's an idea passed down from one of my buddies back from Long Island. He was a youth pastor, and basically it stood for just, you got together and we get in a circle, ask hard questions, and we let the kids ask hard questions, and they would be like, why is this bad, or why is there evil in the world, or why is homosexuality seen as a sin, or why is gluttony bad, or blah blah blah, just asking the whys and the hows behind our faith, so that when they go out in the real world, they have a way to defend themselves. That's what apologetics is, right? The defense of one's faith. So one person came up and asked me about, and someone that never ever shows up. It was a small group, thank God. It was actually a group of young adults. I would actually think of them as leaders. And one youth group kid, and the person that was asking the questions was a 21-year-old, and the others was 20 and 19. But this 21-year-old, I was addressing her because she was an adult in that group during that Wednesday, and they asked about pie, and I told them, listen, they just recently lost a loved one. They're using it to medicate themselves. And I said, listen, I understand where you're coming from, but it's a quick fix that's going to leave you high and dry, and it's going to always leave you wanting for more, where Jesus can actually heal you and heal those wounds that you're going through. And the substance that you're going towards is just basically a means to an end, and it's not going to actually help you. If anything, it's going to get in your way with the relationship with Jesus. So I was like, go to Jesus, let him heal you, spend time with him, commune with him. He's the one that's going to save you from this, not it's going to save you from your grieving, it's going to save you from your anguish, not the pot. And then I also got into alcohol, and just because of the church that I go to, they have a very strong stance on alcohol compared to a lot of different denominations that I've known about and been to. Even the Catholic Church of all places were very strict for, my opinion, legalistic reasons, ritualistic reasons. But I said, basically that this is where this church stands, and they stand against alcohol, and they're not for alcohol. So that obviously means drunkenness, because you can't even touch alcohol, so that means drunkenness is definitely a no-go, right? But I also said, I'm not going to throw stones and judge somebody that does have the occasional glass of wine or beer and doesn't get drunk. I don't think that's a sin. So I don't think alcohol itself is a problem. I think the person is, just like the whole issue with gun rights, gun violence. I don't think guns are the problem. I think the person is. We always have to check the root problem. We shouldn't necessarily just point at the actual thing itself and say that's a sin, rather than the actual person behind it, right? And that was a huge problem. So it caused a little bit of a hiccup in the church, because I went back to some parents, and I guess now I have to think about possibly stepping down in leadership, and I'll just leave it at that. So just pray for me for those that are out there. And it's been heavy on my heart, and that's part of the reason why I've kind of taken a step back from YouTube, because it's been really heavy on my heart for the last couple of weeks, and that's been not the greatest thing for me during this bodybuilding prep, because I'm trying to stay stress-free, and it's increased my stress a lot. Because I love these kids, I love these youth, and I wanted to see them grow, and I'm sure they will still. But it's hard when you invest yourself into something with your heart and mind, and you have to take a step back from it. But we'll see. We haven't made a decision yet, but we'll just pray on it, right? We'll just have to pray on it because we want to go to God for everything. But that was part of the reason why, guys. And that was a lot of what I want to share with you guys. That was been heavy on my heart. But getting back to the prep, if you guys want to know the overall diet as far as not just the macros and calories, but eating lots of greens, so a lot of cucumbers, a lot of salad greens, a lot of kale, a lot of green beans. The reason why is because high in fiber. So I don't ever even track greens because of the fiber count is so high. And I think I mentioned this in the other videos, but the fiber count is so high in vegetables that it's almost no point. There's almost negligible amount of carbs you're getting. I wouldn't worry too much about it. There's some people that do. I don't. There's different types of vegetables that you definitely should because they're starchier, like squash, for example, and things like that. But lots of greens, chicken breasts, a lot of whey protein because I've been so busy between the church stuff and just being a coach and having my own business, taking care of my wife and dog, and getting ready for this bodybuilding prep. A lot of Fairlife shakes and my protein whey protein shakes. And carbs have been mainly potatoes and Dave's Killer Bread. Fats from butter, nuts, and the meat that I've been ingesting. But that's it, guys. That's the whole of the last couple of weeks. I've been enjoying for the most part. I'm gonna say this, this now. It hasn't been the most difficult compared to other preps because I think I'm at the point now where I have more muscle mass, so I don't have to be that deep in the cut. I've been using more cardio to get myself in a deeper cut. Doing a little bit higher intensity. I've been using the assault bike a lot and trying to manage my heart rate and manage my calories on that. Roughly, I know that those things are not super accurate, especially from guy to girl. Guys typically burn a little bit more when they're on those things, and I think it just finds the rough average of the human population when it calculates the burnage of how much calories you're burning. But that's about it, guys. I wanted to wrap it up pretty quickly because of I don't want to just be rambling on here, but I hope you stick around for the last couple of weeks. I'm going to do my very best. This is my word to you guys. I'm going to do my very best the next couple of weeks to bring this with value, bring these with memories, bring this with actually takeaways. Hopefully you took away something from this. And hey, guys, I really appreciate you guys for watching these videos. God bless, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.